On behalf of the Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau, it is my honor, distinct honor, to introduce our featured speaker. This is a gentleman who I feel great kinship with, both as an attorney and as a fellow Irishman. He proudly credits his parents.
Worst combination.
He proudly credits his parents for instilling in him the belief that politics and government service are honorable professions and a way to improve people's lives. His father, James E. Doyle Sr., was a highly respected United States District Judge for the Western District of Wisconsin and was dearly loved by many people. His mother, Ruth, was the first woman from Dane County to be elected to the State Assembly. After graduation from Harvard Law School, our speaker chose the path of public service. He moved to the state of Arizona, where he served the Navajo Nation as a in the Federal Legal Services Office. He then returned to the state of Wisconsin after several years, ran for the office of District Attorney of Dane County, was elected, and served in that office from 1977 through '82. He was elected our Attorney General in 1990, where he received national recognition for his work in consumer protection, public health, law enforcement, and criminal sentencing. He held that office until January of this year, when he was elected our 44th governor, the 44th governor of the state of Wisconsin, Jim Doyle.
Thank you. Thanks. Mark, thank you very much for the very warm introduction. I am really honored to be here and to have some time to spend with you today and discuss some of my thoughts about where the economy of the state of Wisconsin is going and some of the things that we can do to improve it. And I really want to thank the Hudson Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau for the kind invitation. I understand there was some hope I'd be sharing a stage here today with the fellow governor who has we have gotten to know each other well, and we'll be seeing each other, I think, next week in the La Crosse area. We've had several meetings back and forth, and are going to continue to try to build that relationship and make sure that we are moving forward together, not as rivals, although there's, it's healthy to have a little bit of rivalry within a family, but to also understand how important it is for us to work as two states with very similar interests. So I am welcome the opportunity today to be here to talk about how Wisconsin and Minnesota can work together as a regional economy to spur economic growth, create jobs, attract new businesses, and boost tourism. And I want to thank the Chamber for the work you have done and continue to do to promote both economic growth and tourism for Hudson and its surrounding communities. This area of Wisconsin is becoming one of the real economic drivers in the state of Wisconsin. It is, as you all know, growing and thriving, and it is an area that the state of Wisconsin has to make sure that we really focus on and work with to continue to grow and to improve the job base in this state. I know that you have been working very closely with the City of Hudson, the St. Croix Economic Development Corporation to revitalize Hudson's downtown by bringing in new restaurants and retail businesses, and it really is a remarkable thing to come to Hudson over the years that I have and to see the tremendous redevelopment that has taken place. It really is one of the jewels of the state of Wisconsin, and you should be very proud of your successes. Well, the relationship between Wisconsin and Minnesota is a lot more than just Packers versus Vikings, which is very fortunate for us Packer fans this year, at least, although we got another shot in a couple of weeks. The synergy between western Wisconsin and Minnesota, and particularly the Twin Cities economy, is very good for us in Wisconsin. A good, healthy, thriving Wisconsin in many ways depends on a good, healthy, thriving Twin Cities economy. And we should really be working to be partners in building a strong regional economy. So rather than focusing on competing against each other, I want to find ways that we compete together as a region. And I am pleased, as I mentioned, that I have built a strong working relationship with Governor Pawlenty. He has faced many of the same challenges in Minnesota that I have faced in Wisconsin. We're of two different political parties, but we came into office at the same time, each facing these incredible deficits that had been handed to us. And I know that we share and understand that if we want our states to compete for high-tech, high-wage jobs, that we must cooperate as a region. Together, Wisconsin and Minnesota have a highly educated workforce, top-notch research institutions, a high quality of life, and a commitment to holding the line on taxes. And by continuing to work as partners, we can attract new industries and opportunities to the region that can help both states. A perfect example of this is the Anderson Corporation, a company that I know you are recognizing today as it celebrates 100 years of business. A great Minnesota company, Anderson Corporation has created a lot of jobs and businesses, and its success has benefited both Minnesota and Wisconsin. In the last few years, we have seen the creation of 300 new jobs in Wisconsin with the opening of the new assembly plant in Menominee. We've benefited as a region because of this company's success, and let me tell you, I hope I can look forward to many more Anderson jobs coming over into Wisconsin. But it is a good example of how a strong company in Minnesota can benefit this region, just as strong companies with home offices in Wisconsin can benefit the region as well. Well, I came into office on January 6th. I had campaigned. I'd been through this area many times in the course of the campaign. In the course of it, we were discussing all the time what we were going to do about a $1.6 billion deficit. And the candidates would argue back and forth, and we would criticize each other's plans and so on. But all the time looming before us was the $1.6 billion deficit. I said we were going to deal with this deficit without raising taxes. And there were many skeptics who said there's no way you can take care of a $1.6 billion deficit without raising income taxes or sales taxes. I said I was committed to doing it. Well, after becoming governor and being in there for about, I remember it was about 10 days in or 2 weeks in, that they came to me with the real news of what was going on. And that $1.6 billion deficit that we had talked about in the campaign turned out, once we had a chance to really see what was going on, was a $3.2 billion deficit. I'll tell you, I could solve a $1.6 billion deficit in my sleep right now. It's that second 1.6 that gets really tough to do. But I was committed to doing it without raising taxes, and I am very proud that Wisconsin dealt with the $3.2 billion deficit, and I signed a budget this July that brought us back into balance and did it without raising taxes. It was a very tough thing to do. It meant, as governor, I had to make deeper cuts in state government than any governor had ever made in the history of the state, cutting $1.5 billion out of ongoing spending in the state. Every state agency in Wisconsin had to take cuts from 10 to 18%. We had in many different areas. We had to eliminate several state departments. We had to consolidate services. We had to do the hard work that it takes to bring a budget into balance. We had, I believe, gotten away from a couple of basic Wisconsin values, and perhaps the most important value was you don't spend more than you take in. And over the years, the state of Wisconsin had increasingly spent a little bit more than they took in each year, year after year after year, until that deficit had grown to $3.2 billion. And I am committed, as we move forward in Wisconsin, that we're going to get back to that value. We are back to that value, and we're going to stay back at that value, that we are not going to spend more money in this state than we take in. We also got away from a basic Wisconsin value of not preparing anything for a rainy day. While other states, including Minnesota, had a little bit of rainy day money that they had put aside, Wisconsin had none. When I became governor, I had a $3.2 billion deficit, and I should correct that. There was a rainy day fund in Wisconsin. It had $200 in it. That's what I had to apply to that $3.2 billion deficit. And I am proud to say that even in the face of a $3.2 billion deficit, with the budget that I signed, we set aside $200 million to take care of some of the ups and downs that go on as a budget moves through 2 years to keep us from finding ourselves back in the hole again. So it's about basic values, not spending more than you take in, making sure you've put something aside for a rainy day. But it's more than that. It's about also preserving Wisconsin values. When you come in with a $3.2 billion deficit, the thing you have to focus on is what is most important to us as a state. What do we care most about? What are our values? You now have to make hard choices. Frankly, I think the exercise that Wisconsin just had to go through, and Minnesota, probably in the long run is going to be good for this state, because it's making us have to really take stock of what is most important. And I am proud that we came through this budget deficit without endangering our most basic values. An outstanding education system from kindergarten through college, quality health care, and a great environment. Additionally, we have made some very major steps in improving the business climate of this state. I signed a bill that had been argued about for years, but is finally law in Wisconsin, called the Single Sales Factor Law, that eliminates the tax on job creation and makes us competitive with other states. Yesterday, I also signed major legislation to modernize our financial system. Again, a bill that had been talked about for 4 or 5 years was finally signed into law that modernizes our financial system, opening the doors for hundreds of millions of dollars in new investments in Wisconsin. I have also worked hard to lay out my vision for a new economy in Wisconsin. My economic development plan, Grow Wisconsin, is a comprehensive agenda of action that will vastly improve job training, implement important regulatory reforms, improve our vital infrastructure, unleash over $1 billion in public and private investment, and invest in and upgrade manufacturing. My vision is to compete at the high end by capitalizing on our strengths, technology, a commitment to quality, and above all, a highly educated workforce. There probably is no region of Wisconsin that is better poised to compete at the high end than this area of Wisconsin. And we can help our businesses thrive and compete by focusing on the high end, through training our workforce, through technology, through providing better access to capital, and fostering a healthy, productive business climate. We have many specific initiatives in our plan that will attract new businesses to Wisconsin, but we are also working hard to provide assistances to those businesses that are already located here and are seeking to expand. Let me mention 2 initiatives in particular that are designed to help existing businesses. First, I have proposed a $10 million manufacturing competitiveness program, leveraged with other public and private funds to provide grants to help manufacturers improve productivity through training, technology, and technical assistance. This program is a great example of partnerships between the state, our technical colleges, our universities, and the manufacturing extension partnerships. One of the great successes in Wisconsin history was how the University of Wisconsin reached out to farmers in the 1930s and 40s and 50s with the expertise and research that was coming out of the universities and in the process created the most productive agricultural economy the world had ever known. We want to do the same thing in a big way with manufacturing here in Wisconsin. Reach out with the engineering resources, the IT resources and expertise that we have in our universities, in our technical colleges, and make those resources available to manufacturers throughout the state. And we, with money, by the way, $10 million that is not going to be new money. We are continuing to cut the size of state government. We are continuing to find new savings in state government, and we are going to find those savings in state government and reinvest it in direct help to manufacturers in Wisconsin. Second, I am proposing legislation to create a $10 million worker training program to provide free job training to training services to businesses that create a significant number of new jobs in Wisconsin or that make major capital investments in the workplace. I want to build on Wisconsin's strength. I know as governor, I've been in this job long enough for 9 or 10 months that I don't have brochures with palm trees and warm ocean breezes to hand out when I am going and talking to businesses about the hope that they will expand here or locate here. What I do have to offer is a better story. It is a story of a well-trained, highly educated workforce that will produce the absolute best products or provide the best services that you will find anywhere in the world. And that's where we want to make our investment. I want to say to businesses that are already in Wisconsin that if you are going to increase the number of jobs here or make significant new capital improvements and you need training for the workers to do the jobs on the new machines or for the workers that would be coming here, we in Wisconsin will pay for that training. It is our investment in people that can really help businesses be more profitable in this state. The worker training program will really be focused on, as well, on businesses that are here. It says that if a business is willing to make a new investment in machinery or technology to improve its ability to compete in the marketplace, the state will provide the support to train those workers on that new piece of equipment. We want our existing businesses to remain competitive and continue to upgrade technology so that we don't lose these jobs. Another part of Grow Wisconsin is pretty basic stuff, but it is one that we have, I'm afraid, in many different ways ignored for too long. It is the need to build a sound infrastructure to make sure that we have adequate sources of affordable electricity, reliable electricity, that our roads are good. And I understand that in the Hudson area, there is great concern about replacing or improving the Stillwater Bridge. Believe me, I hear a lot about it when I come to this part of the state. I want you to know that I strongly support getting this bridge done. I believe a new bridge will improve safety and mobility on both sides of the river and will continue to build continue our efforts to build the region's economy. Exactly how we provide the new crossing has been studied for, as they tell me, about 2 decades now. And as governor of Wisconsin, I recognize the need for this project, and I am committed to making it happen. Our Secretary of Transportation has been working closely with the Minnesota Lieutenant Governor and Transportation Commissioner. There is a mediation process currently underway, which we are going to engage in fully and quickly and with as little time delays as possible so that we can move forward to get this project done. Both Wisconsin and Minnesota have agreed to support this approach, and we will need to see the process through to its resolution. There will be plenty of opportunities for public input, and I encourage you all to get involved and let your concerns be held. We anticipate that public meetings will be held in December on the scope of the project. But I understand this. It is time to get going on this project, and it is something that we are going to do. The price tag is high. $162 million, already $100 million more than what it would have been if it had been done 10 years before. The Wisconsin share of this is significant, $63 million. Our commitment to get this done is a significant commitment of resources, but I do believe it is money well invested in ensuring that we have a growing regional economy in this part of the state. So I appreciate again, my opportunity to be here and to talk to you today. I think the future of Wisconsin is incredibly bright. We have suffered through, as most of the country has, an economic downturn in recent years, and we didn't go into the downturn very well prepared. We had not been focused on quality of jobs in this state, and as the downturn happened, many parts of our state, much of which relied on manufacturing that in some cases was outdated, has suffered significantly. I am committed and work every single day as governor to turning the economy of this state around and to focusing not just on more jobs, but on better paying jobs, on higher quality jobs, on competing at the high end. I want everybody in this country and world to know that if you want to go someplace to have the absolute best product produced, where you need a sophisticated, highly trained and educated worker who will show up for work every day and take enormous pride in the work that they do, then come to Wisconsin. And if you want to have a service provided by the best, smartest, best educated workforce, come to Wisconsin. That's where we're going in Wisconsin. We're going to the high end. And when we compete at the high end, we're going to do very well. The future of this state is bright if we work together, and I look forward to doing that with you in the coming years. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Governor, there were a few questions that were raised. In light of the establishment by the state of Minnesota of the tax-free zones, which we heard about on Monday, to attract businesses, is there a similar mechanism in the Grow Wisconsin program?
We actually, and my predecessors got a little ahead of the curve. They do have technology zones that do allow for tax credits in various technology zones. One of the problems has been that that program has gotten so encumbered with the various what zone is what and what are the rules that there's about $60 million just sitting there that's all been budgeted for that can't get invested because of those regulations. And one of the simple parts of the Grow Wisconsin plan is to remove the shackles on our current technology zone program in Wisconsin to get those credits out into the marketplace immediately. This is something that can be done tomorrow, or given the legislative process, you know, in a couple of months, but it can be done relatively quickly. And it's one, again, where I think we had actually moved well down that road, but have found that the system that we have has been cumbersome, not very flexible, and one that we can improve dramatically.
Some of these questions were raised in light of the fact that Governor Plenty, we thought, was going to be here. What is the status right now of the legislation in the state of Wisconsin concerning conceal and carry in light of the fact that Minnesota passed such a law and many of the businesses, churches, et cetera, are putting up signs saying, don't bring your guns?
Well, it looks like Wisconsin's legislature is going to pass a somewhat similar law, but I'll just tell you, it is going to be vetoed when it gets to my desk. And then we'll see what happens from there. But I just don't want to walk into church and have to see a big sign saying I can't carry a gun, and then if the sign isn't there, to be looking around in church figuring out who is carrying here and who isn't. Let me just tell you something about Wisconsin. Wisconsin passed its law against carrying concealed weapons in the 1870s. It has been our law through the entire 20th century. We have always been one of the absolute safest states in the country. Every year you will see that we rank in the bottom 5 of crime rates in the country. I come out of law enforcement. My career as a district attorney and as the Attorney General, the state's chief law enforcement officer, I really stand with law enforcement on this one. I just personally do not believe, and it defies common sense for me to believe, that we are safer if we were all sitting around this room together right now with guns. And so that's where I am on it. That's where I've always been on it. That's where I'll be when it comes to my desk.
I see Scott's giving the high sign here, Governor. I think you've got to head down the road. So
all right. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Great. You're going to make that Stillwater Bridge happen too, right? Very good. Thank you. Welcome. All right. There's a couple announcements I want to make you aware of that are listed on your agenda in front of you. The annual Hudson Christmas Tour of Homes. How many of you have not had a chance to buy your ticket yet? You know, this is a participatory meeting, see? So I encourage you, we have tickets right here that you can buy yours. I encourage you, the tour is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Tickets are only $14. This is the largest fundraiser that the Chamber does throughout the year. So encourage your participation. We have great homes on this year, and you're going to love it. You're going to get some great ideas from them. The next Business Spotlight, the after-hours event, will be held at Hudson Hospital on Wednesday, December 3rd. Encourage you to attend that. That's from 5:30 to 7:30 up at Hudson Hospital. And also this year, we have holiday brochures again this year. This brochure highlights all the activities that are happening in Hudson throughout the community. And we're going to have a special Celebrate the Holidays in Hudson on December 6th down in Lakefront Park with activities throughout downtown throughout the day with hay rides and ornaments and refreshments and Santa and live reindeer. So you could go get your photo taken with Santa and live reindeer down in Lakefront Park. By Patterman Photography, and then we're going to have treats and so forth and all sorts of things, jingle along Locust Street, so I encourage you to come downtown in Hudson and see what we have to offer on that day. The Chamber's annual meeting is January 29th, 2004, and again, a great opportunity for you to support that program by being a sponsor. So if you haven't already signed up, who's already signed up to be a sponsor for that? Very good. Glad to see those hands up. We have some other opportunities. We have gold, silver, and bronze sponsorships, so I encourage you to call the Chamber and sign up to get your name promoted through that event. Each program during the What's Hot section, we provide you with updates of what's happening in and around the Hudson area. Today we are going to hear an update on the YMCA Camp St. Croix. Please join me in welcoming Executive Director of the camp, Rob Schultz.
Good afternoon. It's great to see everyone today. There's a lot of great things happening in our community, and one of those places where things are happening is out at Camp St. Croix. For those of you who haven't heard yet, we've had a really great year this year. Our enrollments are significantly higher than they have been in the past. We've actually set some all-time camp attendance records, having served just over 27,000 people at Camp St. Croix, which makes us one of the largest YMCA camps in the upper Midwest. A lot of that growth has been through our day camp program, which has been developed over the last 4 years, the new site, which is on the very north end of our property. And it continues to be developed with a number of major projects that will get underway this next year from a capital development standpoint, including additional picnic shelters and new program areas and bathrooms and things like that. So we continue to expect to see a lot more growth of the camp in the years ahead. Really, the day camp has been serving our local communities. We've seen that 84% of the kids that come to day camp come from within a 15-mile radius of Camp St. Croix. But in the years ahead, those numbers will expand to include many kids from the cities, as the YMCA has identified Camp St. Croix as the regional day camp for the Twin Cities for the St. Paul YMCA. So we're all excited about that and excited to welcome a lot more kids and families into our community through this great facility. One of the neat things that has happened this year, we've added defibrillators at camp, a number of AED units. We have 3 of them as of right now, and we're currently putting a 4th one on our boat up on Lake Superior. But we had a wonderful story that I just really quickly want to share with you. It was May 26th of this year. We had a school group from St. Paul that was out visiting our camp as part of the environmental education program, and a school teacher collapsed in our dining hall of a heart attack. He was in full cardiac arrest, and within a very short period of time, our staff had an AED on this individual, which advised to shock the individual and begin CPR. And this individual was a 42-year-old male, about 280 pounds. They went through the process that the AED recommended, and by the time that the ambulance got there, the individual was conscious, sitting up, talking with staff, and has really survived that very, very well, thanks in big part to the AED and the staff, as well as the folks at Lakeview Hospital. Or not Lakeview, Hudson Hospital. I'm still thinking Stillwater here. Sorry about that. Get me there, but we're just really appreciative of all of the donations that have come into the camp to help make that AED purchase possible and all of the other great things that are happening there. Last thing I wanted to mention is we do have a new chair of our board. Many of you know Tom McCormick from Hudson here. Tom is our new board chair, has been doing just a great job along with a number of other board members who are in the audience today. So for those members of the Camp St. Croix board that are here, if you could just please stand up. I know Scott is here and Mary Claire Olson, and do we have anyone else? So a big thank you to those folks for all the great things they're doing at the camp. So thank you very much. I still feel embarrassed.
Yeah. He really knew it was Hudson Hospital. It was just you get up here and there's a lot of, Exactly. Imagine how I feel. Okay, how's everybody doing? Okay, one of the many benefits of attending Good Morning Hudson is what? Thank you, networking. So at this time, briefly prior to our speakers who are here will speak, I encourage you to take out 5 business cards. How many of you have business cards with you? Okay, write it on a piece of paper. Exchange with those around you and we will reconvene in a few minutes. Oh, right over with Katie. Okay. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our featured speakers for today's program. I'm going to introduce both of them, and then they're going to do kind of a tag team presentation. With us today, we have Bob Anderson, who is the Project Development Supervisor in St. Croix, Pierce, Dunn, and Pepin counties for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. It is a transportation topic today, isn't it? Anderson has been with the Wisconsin DOT since 1992 as a design and construction engineer. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering from South Dakota State University. Our second speaker is Bren Pickard, who is the Communications Manager for West Central Wisconsin for the Department of Transportation. He has been with Wisconsin DOT since 1996, and prior to that, he spent 12 years as a news manager in various television and radio stations in the Midwest. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. Please join me in welcoming Bob and Brent.
I'm Brent, he's Bob. We're hoping this works. They took 2 farm boys and sent out with a computer and this projector thing. Now in Polk County, we had Holsteins on the farm. I don't know what they have in South Dakota for a farm. We're going to talk about a couple of things today, a couple of projects that I know are of importance. The westbound bridge project on I-94, which will happen next year. And then we'll give a brief overview of a project near and dear to my heart, the crossing in the Stillwater area that we hope happens someday. Just as an overview about the area that we serve, in west central Wisconsin, basically St. Croix and Pierce counties over to Taylor and Clark, about 4 million acres, more than 12,000 roadway miles, and almost 2,000 bridges in that area. And I think it's real appropriate that we're here today talking with the Chamber of Commerce because there is a real direct strategic link between the transportation system and the economic vitality in our area. And it is important that we work hand in hand with the business community. Kitty said we weren't going to talk about budget, but, well, we're going to talk a little bit about budget. In our area, here's roughly what we're spending in highways over the next couple of years. The fiscal year 2003 figure, actually a little higher than that we ended up building roads in this area. We are making significant investments in west central Wisconsin for those very economic reasons, and also safety and congestion.
I'm the AV tech,
Good. I'm glad we got one.
but it's not really working. Excuse us.
I can slouch.
Well, no, it's
I-
not good for your back.
I do that well.
Okay.
Roughly $100 million in each of the past, over the course of these 3 years. A lot of that is what we call major projects, the Highway 35-64 expansion from the Holton area over to New Richmond, Highways 53 and 29 in the Eau Claire area. So there is certainly a lot of work going on. And Kitty is here, and with the budget issues, I did want to point out that I looked back in 1985, we had 140 people in our district. We have about 100 today. They did, and we didn't replace them. But a lot of that, and I'm going to give Bob something that he doesn't get from me too often, that's a compliment. It really is because of people like Bob and his staff. I said 2003 was actually higher than that. The reason that it was that Bob and his staff had projects ready to go, ready to move up projects such as 35 and 64, and when there was savings in the program, as things not costing as much as they were, or when other programs elsewhere in the state didn't happen on schedule, Bob was able to step in and move projects up in this area so we can get those projects done and provide that transportation system as quickly as we possibly can. Because as Kitty knows, when they say they have money in Madison, if you're from western Wisconsin, you better get to it quick. We have a significant transportation system and transportation issues in west central Wisconsin, and one of them is sitting right out there. So I will let Bob take over and talk about some of the projects going on coming up in St. Croix County and in this area, and also the big project on the I-94 bridge next year.
Alrighty, thank you, Brent. The next slide here. Next year, in the area, what we got planned is the I-94 St. Croix River Bridge, westbound direction. We're going to do a redeck there. But besides that, we do have another project in the area, Highway 12, by exit 4. From the truck stop there, heading to the north, we will be expanding that from 2 to 4 lanes. Traffic, it'll be constructed under traffic. Basically, we'll build the northbound lanes right next to the old one. Traffic will stay right where it's at. We'll do a traffic switch. And then hopefully, and then in the fall, we'll open up to 4 lanes of traffic. Between Somerset and New Richmond, we currently have, as Brent said, our majors project going on. It's approximately 14 miles. When we're done, we're going to invest about $88 million in that project. Currently, we have 1 mile completed, 2.5 miles under construction from Highway V to the 38th Street, which will open up in the fall of '04. In 2004, we will open up another 7 miles for construction, and we'll be complete with the entire stretch between Somerset or Holton and New Richmond in the fall of 2006. In 2005, we will be constructing a interchange at Highways 35 and Hanley Road in that area. Something unique about that project, at the top of the ramp terminals, instead of signals, we will be constructing modern roundabouts in that area. Currently, also in the Baldwin area, we are rebuilding the Highway 63 I-94 interchange. And the rest of the colors on the map are more or less our typical resurface projects where we go in and mill off 2 inches and put 2 inches back. Which brings us to our topic of the day here. The westbound I-94 St. Croix River Bridge. Construction will begin in the spring of 2004. Work will include replacing the existing deck on the westbound bridge. We will be adding an auxiliary lane between Highway 35 to Highway 95. We will be moving the current bike and pedestrian trail from the westbound bridge over to the eastbound bridge and connect to the existing trails. Total cost estimate for this project is between $8 and $10 million. The westbound existing bridge was built in the early 70s. It's approximately 2,400 feet long. We have about 70,000 vehicles a day using this portion of I-94. We have tried to do significant planning in order to minimize inconvenience to the public. And basically, the project is going to be in 5 different stages. The first stage, what you'll see out there in the project, we expect construction to begin in late March, early April of next year. Basically, We'll be prepping the outside lanes of I-94 to carry traffic in the future. So the outside lanes will be closed. And at this time, the southbound 35 ramp to westbound I-94 will also be closed. There will be a detour up Cooley Road to the slip ramp. Stage 2 is we put traffic out in those outside lanes, and we close the inside or the median lanes. At the end of this stage, between stage 2 and 3, is a very critical time for us. That's when we will be taking the traffic that's on the westbound side of the westbound bridge and routing the traffic onto the eastbound side. This traffic switch, which will mean that I-94 traffic will be down to a single lane, but this will occur between 10 p.m. on Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday. And if it's not open, if they don't have the traffic back open to at least 2 lanes, it's $8,600 every 15 minutes penalty to the contractor, or $34,000 an hour with no limit. We had a little situation in the area on August 13th of this year, which my phone rang off the hook. We had a contractor who failed to open up the lanes of traffic during the morning rush hour, and we did have traffic backed up about 10 miles. Stage 3 is the main stage of construction. That's when the actual removal of the old bridge deck will take place. All the traffic will be on eastbound I-94. We're going to use something we're going to get to a little bit later. In the morning, though, during the peak hours, there will be 3 lanes westbound and 2 lanes eastbound plus an auxiliary lane. And that'll stay like that from 8 p.m. at night to 10 a.m. in the morning, so we can handle the peak rush in the morning into the Twin Cities. For the afternoon, there will be 2 lanes westbound, 3 lanes eastbound plus the auxiliary lane, and that'll be between 10 and 8. For this stage, we have an incentive for the contractor of $15,000 a day for every day he gets this stage done prior to October 2nd, for a maximum of $225,000. The disincentive is the same. If he fails to open it prior to October 2nd, it's $15,000 a day until it is open. Stage 4, we're kind of going reverse now. We open between stage 3 and stage 4, it's the same thing. During this critical time, we will have traffic down to I-94 in a single lane between the same hours of 10 p.m. on a Saturday, 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. The same $38,000 an hour penalty will apply if it's not open Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. In stage 4, the median lanes will be closed so we can get it back till it's looking normal. Stage 5 would be that the outside lanes are closed, and then when this stage is done, the project will be completed. Another little kicker for our contractor to work diligently out there is we got it, how can I say that? The completion time of the project, it needs to be done by November 1st. There's a $5,000 a day incentive for him to get that, to reach that milestone, for a maximum of $25,000. So if the contractor has enough men, has enough equipment in there, he can earn a total of $250,000 as an incentive to the project. This is how we're going to shift those traffic lanes from during the peak morning rush and the peak afternoon rush.
Really, it works.
This thing going to work?
No? I'll work on it, though.
Well, what this machine does is it takes up a concrete barrier like you see along any road construction project and shifts it anywhere from 8 to 18 feet. And this is what we'll accomplish. This machine will run twice a day, moving the traffic, moving the barrier over so it opens up the other lane. And Brent assured me that this would work. It was kind of a little motion picture here of how this thing does work. This will be the first time it's been used in this area, including the Twin Cities. It's been successfully used down in Illinois for a number of years, and we will have a lot of people watching this. We spent a lot of time trying to figure out how do we get the eastbound bridge to handle all 70,000 cars a day during peak. We are really trying to minimize inconvenience to the traveling public.
I'm working on it. I don't know, you engineers. I don't think it's going to go, Chief.
All righty. Another part that we work closely with the Wisconsin State Patrol. We will have increased law enforcement in the area. We will have a highway helper program, which includes a vehicle towing service. That towing service will run between the peak hours of 6 to 9 and 3 to 6, Monday through Friday, and 10 to 4 and 11 to 8 on the weekends. This service will be, they'll have like 5 gallons of gas, they'll be able to fix a flat tire, and if they can't get the vehicle off the interstate, they will pick it up and tow it to a drop-off zone either on the Minnesota or the Wisconsin side. We are also going to have a bike and pedestrian shuttle because the walkway across the bridge during construction will be closed. It'll pick bikers and pedestrians who want to cross the bridge up on the park and ride side, on the Minnesota side, drop them off at the boat landing on the Wisconsin side. It's capable of carrying 8 passengers and 6 bikes. And as always, we do encourage people, if you do have an alternate route, which is very limited in this area, to use it. We also will be using something that we've had in operation for 2 years, give or take, is a highway advisory radio. If you tune your AM radios just to 530, you'll be able to get up-to-date advisories on traffic conditions, that type of thing. We'll have electronic message boards, changeable message boards I'm sure you've all seen, and we are in the process of developing a website. So, with that, we hope that everybody would consider using alternate travel times to avoid the rush hour. Remember to keep a safe distance between vehicles. Be alert for special instructions on the changeable message boards, and slow down and relax. So with that, I guess I will turn this over to Brent Pickard to talk about Stillwater.
I will cover this quicker than the process has taken to get us to where we're at. Yeah. Little background. This is a joint project with Minnesota. All the river bridge crossings are joint projects. We kind of split them up. On the one out here on 94, we're the lead agency. Stillwater, Minnesota is the lead agency. As you all know, we've got tons of congestion problems. We've got safety problems on the approaches. Lift Bridge was built back in 1931. They did a heck of a job building it because that thing won't fall down, no matter how much we pray. Small joke. Estimated cost. 150 sounded like a good number. Back in 1958, I'm told they did the original survey work to build a new crossing in that area. I saw a figure that in 1971 we had a cost estimate of $1.6 million. We're at 150. The Wisconsin share of that would be roughly 60. We are on a schedule. A couple of years ago, made news by suspending the project. We weren't getting anywhere. We had spent about $15 million and couldn't move the project forward. We started up the project again this year after a couple of things happened when the president put the project on a list to be streamlined so we could finally move forward. And also there is a mediation facilitation process going on, trying to reach consensus over how we can finally take care of the situation. Right now there is a scoping decision document that is out. You may have seen something in the paper last week. This is part of Minnesota law. It's called a scoping decision. Basically, there are alternatives in there that we can consider. Coming up in a couple of weeks will be public meetings. The scoping decision process in Minnesota, and we're doing it in Wisconsin to go along with this, is for the public, for interested persons to come and give input on which of these alternatives they think we should move forward with and continue to study more in depth and which ones we want to get rid of. The more alternatives we study, the more time, the more money, and the longer everything takes. We anticipate the environmental impact statements, which are required for these major projects, to be done a year from now. If all goes well, construction could begin in 2007, and it would be about 3 years to build a facility. Right now, there are 6 alternatives that are being considered. One is a no-build. You always have a no-build alternative to compare everything else to. The other 6, or 5, I'm going to run through real quickly for you. They are just numbered. Alternative A, and I realize this is extremely difficult to see, but Alternative A is another no-build alternative. What Alternative A does is it says there are other ways to deal with the situation, using things like, and what the legend here says is water taxis, commuter rail, bus services. Also in Alternative A is suggestions for restrictive zoning along Highway 35. And a 4-lane expansion of Highway 65 from New Richmond down to the interstate. Now, I do have to put in a qualifier. Generally, when departments of transportation do these sorts of documents, we're doing the documents and put forth the alternatives. Because this is a mediated, facilitated group discussion with, I think, 28 different stakeholders, these are the alternatives that they have come up with. There are things in alternatives, such as this, we don't have control over. The Department of Transportation does not do zoning on Highway 35 in St. Croix County. Those are things for local governments to do. There's also a good deal of other funding in some of these that we don't have control over, but they are alternatives in the scoping document at this point. Alternative B, see if I can make this work. Alternative B, this is Highway 36, if you can see the arrow. Alternative B is the southernmost route, would cross here. For those of you with good memories, when we were about a month away from starting to build a bridge 8-9 years ago, this is basically the same sort of area, the same basic corridor. 4-lane bridge going into Minnesota. Alternative C would come across 36, make the bend, and then come across and back up onto 3564. This is relatively similar to, you probably remember hearing of a Bronze Sea alternative. The D does a similar thing, comes up around, heading down into Stillwater, and then cuts diagonally across the river and comes up basically through the same corridor as existing 64 does. Alternative D is a 4-lane bridge, but you'd continue to come down the hill and then come across. And Alternative E would use a 2-lane bridge on the same corridor as Alternative D, but also use the lift bridge for westbound traffic. Here's where we need your help. Mary Claire said this was a participatory thing. This is a participatory thing. There are public meetings coming up. December 2nd, 4:30 to 8:30 up at the Holton School. Also December 3rd in Stillwater at the Washington County Government Center. These are the official titles, are the something like the scoping decision meetings. There's a couple of things that are going to make determinations on what we go forward with and where we go from here. One is we are continuing to do studies. And on any of these alternatives, the first question that has to be answered is, will it work? We have too many cars crossing a bridge. We have too many cars in Stillwater. We have too high of crash rate on on Highway 64 coming down into the bridges. So we're currently running traffic analysis. Will it work? If you did whatever a particular alternative, will it work? If not, that's a reason for dismissal. Another huge reason for dismissal is if the public says, don't do that. So there have been surveys done in the past which indicate 90% of the people on this side of the river think we ought to have a bridge. If you are part of that 90%, or if you're part of the other 10%, I strongly encourage you, if you can attend the meetings. If not, you can go onto the website, but and you can make comments from there. We'll give you a way to get to that. But this is the time for you to tell us what you think we ought to be doing with your money. And it is very important, because if we have alternatives where there is a huge outcrying from the public to either do this or not do that, that is going to weigh very heavily in where we go from here. This I will leave up. At the bottom of this, I hope you can see, is our websites, and with a whole bunch of backslashes and all those good things. There is a link on our site. You can get to, from there you will shortly be able to get to information on the I-94 bridge. You will be able to get to information on the 3564 project. You will be able to get to information on what is now called the St. Croix River Crossing Project, for years known as the Stillwater Bridge. From there, on that site, from the crossing, you will be able to make direct comments either via email, or there is a comment sheet that you will be able to download and send in. But it is truly a time. I know Representative Rhodes and Mark and I have had numerous conversations over the past several years about what's the chances of this happening, of us finally being able to solve that situation there. This might be our best chance. Because of how things are set up, because it is on the list for streamlining, there is support in Washington for doing something. But now is the time we really need the assistance of citizens, of business owners, to give us an idea. What do you want? What do you want to see in your community? How do you want this transportation system to work? With that, that's all we have, and we'd be happy to take any questions you may have. Yes, sir.
Two questions. Bob's presentation, he say that the Highway 35 south ramp going westbound to 94 is going to be closed during that I-94 construction. And then also, is there overlap between any construction maintenance on the Stillwater Bridge and the I-94 project?
Okay, answer the first one, yes. The southbound 35 bridge currently gets out just east, you get on the interstate just east of the St. Croix River. That will be closed from late March till probably October 2nd. The detour will be up Cooley Road to the Amico gas station there where that slip ramp is.
Have you done traffic studies to see how many cars are going up Cooley Road on an average day?
Personally, I don't have that information, but I'm sure they have. It's just a process of getting the ramp in to the eastbound bridge at the same time. We also need a way to get into the east side of the bridge site, and that was that ramp. And then your second question was? Oh.
Is there planned maintenance on Stillwater that overlaps the Hudson construction?
That should start in the fall of '04. I also forgot to mention that Minnesota DOT is also planning a project on I-94 on their side of the river starting right around September 7th of 2004.
We hear that there's planned maintenance on the Stillwater Bridge at the same time.
No, we've worked with Minnesota to try to eliminate that conflict.
But it could be closed. It was, though.
High water as usual may close the Stillwater Bridge during the same time that we are under construction.
Matter of clarification, in 2006, the Stillwater Bridge is going to be closed for repair and maintenance, and they will detour the traffic through Hudson during that period.
Yes, in 2006, that bridge will be closed for scheduled repair and maintenance, and traffic will be detoured through Hudson. I do not know that. I'm not aware of that. Well, the question was Minnesota shutting down Century Avenue at the same time?
Aren't they expanding those lanes in Century Avenue during the same period next spring?
I am not aware of that.
Maybe a good thing to call the Minnesota DOT.
Yeah, Minnesota does have projects scheduled on that area, on their side of the river at the same time. I'm sure they do it closer to the Twin Cities. I'm not sure about the expansion project at Century Avenue, though. I will look into it. Anybody?
Is there any future plans for the construction for around Crestview and Carmichael there by Big Bike Gateway Park, McDonald's and everything? All the buildup that's over there?
I'm not aware of any. Is this on the existing Carmichael I-94 interchange in that area?
The Carmichael and Crestview, right by, it's where everyone goes to go to the freeway
Okay.
and everything, there's nothing.
Not on behalf of the state of Wisconsin, no.
All right.
Brent and I will be available for a while afterwards if you would like to ask us any questions. And you guys are a little bashful like I am, so we'd like to thank you very much for your attention and your time.
So we do just want to clarify that during the I-94 bridge project, currently there isn't plans for Stillwater to be fixing their bridge, but there could be closed at the same time due to high water and flooding, correct? So if that is the case, then will there be special traffic and additional signage and patrol and so forth to help kind of move those travelers across, or?
Yes, as best we can.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so any other questions or comments on this project? Because I think we need to remember the final comments were to what? Slow down and relax, right? Why are we always in such a hurry wherever we go? We just need to slow down, relax, right? Okay, we'll tell those 70,000 cars that are crossing every day that same comment. Bob or Brent, did you have another comment? Okay, please join me in thanking Bob and Brent for coming over to this crowd. I encourage you to attend those 2 public meetings that are taking place, but you're going to want to go on the one that's on December 2nd, because on December 3rd, you're going to be at the Hudson Hospital for the Business Spotlight. So go up to Holton Elementary on December 2nd between 4:30 and 8 and voice your comments and concerns, because I really do think we need to have some input in on that project. It is a very needy project that we need to get taken care of. So again, I'd like to thank the sponsors of today's program, Hudson Hospital and the Riverbank, for your support of this. We appreciate your support of this program. Thank you all for coming. I look forward to seeing you at upcoming events. Have a great day.